having these interviews, I like to really dive in and like ask the critical, deep, serious questions first. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll start with um, if there was a sitcom that was based on your life, what would it be called?
It's a deep question.
Yeah.
Okay. A sitcom based on my life, what would it be called?
All right.
That's a tough, like, that's so
How
tough.
about this one?
Because I have so many things that could come up, but then I'm just like describing one area of my life. And it's like, how do I find something
Different
that's
seasons,
completely,
right?
yeah.
All right. Of all the sitcoms that we've watched, right? Which one is most like your life? How about that? That's a deep one too.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Probably Friends.
Hey, all right.
Yeah.
That's what's up. You got a favorite Friends episode?
Not a particular episode, no, but just the general, like, you know, everybody's kind of on their own journey doing their own thing, but they all come together in the coffee shop and collaborate.
That's right.
And then they just go out and they kind of like make modifications and changes based on the influences in their life.
Love it.
But they all have those permanent, like grounded foundation influences that they all just kind of let influence them.
I like it. And time out. One other thing I didn't add. You can ask me questions too.
Okay.
All right. Time in. Yeah, my wife and I are like huge Friends fans. So like when we were dating even years ago, like we would watch Friends all the time, and then now it's like on to fall asleep to. Like I got it bad. Like,
see, like I don't watch that much TV.
No?
That's the problem. And if I do, it's usually weird sci-fi shows or something. Like I like Stranger Things, American Horror Story.
Okay.
So when you say sitcom, I'm like sitting here like, I've seen like a handful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm only watching TV usually at night, like winding down or during football season. Like you know, I watch my Buckeyes play, but like outside of that, I don't get to watch a ton of it just because I'm always working.
I'm go.
Yeah.
I don't sit still well.
Yeah, me either. Okay. If you could only have one superpower, what would it be?
Probably telepathy.
Reading people's minds, right?
No, it's where you can move things with your mind.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like using the Force.
It's like 11 on Stranger Things, you know, she can like things.
I saw the first episode. I was like, that's not for me.
So same thing though. I watched the first episode, wasn't for me. A lot of people said I would like it. So I'm like, okay, I'll get to like the second or third. Wasn't for me. And then like 5 years later, they started making, you know, like they had the rides and the experience and this and that. And my kids watched it and they loved it. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And then once I got past the first season.
Oh.
Yeah, you got to get past the whole entire first season. And then it gets good.
My brother-in-law tells me that about The Office. You ever watch The Office? Okay.
Yes.
I can't watch The Office. Like, it's so cringe. Like, it's so like... The stuff
that's the fun of it though.
But like, so my wife and I tried to sit down and watch like straight through, and I couldn't get through the first season. And everybody's like, yeah, you get through the first season, and then like if you good to go.
I'll say I've never watched The Office straight through. That's something that I watch just to go to bed and laugh and like clear your mind and have like non-serious thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So telepathy, mine would be speed.
Yeah.
Speed. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So there's not enough hours in the day. You know what I mean? Like I'm always running out of time. You know, I know a lot of people are like, hey, it's Friday, or hey, it's 5 p.m. You know, like me, I'm like, it's Friday. Like, because I still have stuff to do. There's just not enough hours in the day. So speed, I get so much more done. All right. So tell me this, how long have you been an attorney?
So I've been an attorney for a little over 4 years. But I was a paralegal before that.
You were a paralegal before, so have you always been drawn to the legal field?
No.
Wow.
No.
All right.
I actually, so in school, I never knew what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I was always good at school, got straight A's. My parents really pushed me. I was really smart. I was in gifted programs, all that. So it was like, do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a lawyer? That really wasn't my goal. I knew I wanted to help people. For a little bit, I did want to be a neonatologist, like a baby doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was super premature and I wanted to be in that industry. But then in high school, I was an athletic trainer and I got really into sports medicine. I was like, maybe I want to do that. And then I went to UCF and tried to get into their sports medicine program and their nursing program. And you just can't get in any program there because it's so busy and overcrowded. And,
Really?
yeah. So I just spent a lot of time in college not sure what I wanted to do. I ended up getting my degree in psychology because I was like, that's just interesting. Like I can study criminals. I
You
can
take it
study
anywhere.
persuasion, anything. Yeah, you can use it for anything. So I was like, just something general that's interesting that I like. And the more I got into psychology, I got more into behavior modification and education, ended up minoring in education and did student teaching. And I thought I wanted to teach.
Okay.
So I graduated, taught third grade for a
Oh, you
year.
did? Okay.
Not for me.
No.
Was not for me.
It takes a special person.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. But I was fortunate enough to be placed in a Title I school.
Okay.
So are you familiar with Title I?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So where I was working with these kids that just needed a lot of help outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
You know, they were
Yeah,
having
yeah.
problems at home. They didn't have the support that they needed. And I wanted a way that I could contribute to them outside of the classroom. And I had tried, actually. Like I tried to meet with kids after school at the basketball court, and we're going to work on math. And, you know, when you get the problem right, then we're going to shoot shots, like just making all kinds of games and fun things with
Nice.
them. And I was actually reprimanded by the public school system for that because
Really?
why are you meeting with the students after school hours? And now the school is responsible for that. And it's a liability issue. And that's kind of how I started learning about liability issues and things like that. Like,
sure,
what is
okay.
this? Why is this a problem? You know, and I wanted to figure out how I could advocate more for children.
Yeah.
And I learned about guardian ad litem through the school I was at. I had known about a lot of my students had guardian ad litems and things like that. So that was something I wanted to volunteer for. And so did that, ended up somehow getting the idea to go to law school. Really, it came from Gary Compothecris, 1-800-ASK Gary.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
Siesta, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So I was teaching third grade. That was not enough to pay the bills.
No.
So I had to go back to bartending. And I was working at Daiquiri Deck. I was working at Captain Kurt's. I worked at Sneaky Tiki, all these places on the island.
Yeah.
And I was working at the Sneaky Tiki, which is almost right across the street from where Gary Compothecris lives.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
And he
The
would
Sarasota
frequent in
area.
there. So on his way home from work, whatever, he would stop in, and I got to know him over time and talking to him. And I had this, I don't know where it came, just kind of this pipe dream, I guess, idea about law school. Like I said, doctor, lawyer, what do I want to do? Something, make money. I want to advocate. I want to just do something important. And I had thought that he was a lawyer because he had 1-800-ASK Gary,
yeah.
right? And all these billboards were going up. And at the time, like he was the name on the streets. And, you know, he would come into the bar and all the other girls would know, like, there's this guy, he's got money, whatever. And they would try and flirt and whatever and try and get big tips, right? That was their goals. Like, can I get big tips from him or whatever? My interest was, can I get a job from him?
Right.
Like, what opportunities can I get? And there was one day I just got the courage and I asked, I was like, hey, like, I want to get into law school. I really don't think I'm qualified. I don't have I didn't think that I had what it took to get into law school. And that's what academic advisors were telling me. Academic advisors were like, hey, like, you don't really have anyone in your family in the political field. No one's a lawyer. You know, you got good grades, but they're not, you know, straight A 4.0. You didn't go to, you know, this crazy undergrad school. UCF is an amazing school, but it just wasn't enough for me to go to some of the schools that I was looking at.
Gotcha.
And they said if you had good letters of recommendation, that would help. So I had asked Gary, hey, like, could you get me a job in a law firm? Like, and he's like, how many words can you type? I remember him asking me, how many words can you type? And I had no one had ever asked me that question before. I'm like, I have absolutely no idea, but I know how to use Microsoft Word and I learn really fast.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, like, I'll get you this gig. And he did. He got me a gig. It was an in-house counsel for a medical group that he owns. And they started me as just like base, whatever. I think they thought I was just going to come in and not really work out, but I would maybe answer the phones and help out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I came in, I put pedal to the metal. I really cared about it. I wanted to learn. I worked overtime, and before you know it, I was promoted really high. I was like the senior paralegal there.
Nice.
I met a lot of great connections. One of those connections was someone that was on the board of trustees at Stetson University College of Law, who wrote my letter of recommendation that got me into the school.
Oh, sure. Nice.
So I got to go to the #1 trial school.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
yeah. That's where
Yeah.
Iampoli went too, right? Think so. Hale and Iampoli. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Because that's a school where you go if you want to be a trial lawyer.
Right.
Which at the time I wasn't sure that was going to be my path. I thought I was going to be a prosecutor.
Okay.
So my dad was a police officer forever, raised in that home. And when I got to law school, I did do an internship at the prosecutor's office, and it was not what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And so I did an internship at DCF, and that was just a little hard on me emotionally.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just leaned on my connections with Gary, and then somehow got connected with Morgan & Morgan.
Okay.
And then I had like trial experience. I made it on trial team. I ended up going to Oxford University to do this mastering trial advocacy program. And between all of the connections that I had made and the networking and all of that in the school I went to, I got hired at Morgan & Morgan before I even passed the bar.
Nice.
Yeah.
As
an attorney.
As a
litigation attorney. A little baby. Yeah. Right. Litigation attorney. And thank goodness I passed the bar the first time. So
that would have been a big deal. Yeah.
But it was cool because I got hired at Morgan & Morgan in March of 2020.
Oh, wow. Before the shutdown?
That's like right at it. Yeah.
I hadn't even had my first day. And then it shut down, and they were like, hey, we're going to have to delay your start date and this and that. And I started to panic. Like, what am I going to do? I had already depended on this attorney job. And I remember I spoke with Herb Hoffman. He was the partner of the Bradenton office at the time. And he was like, we could bring you in as an essential employee if that's really what you want to do.
Essential, yeah.
But, we're here, we're working in the office, we're not remote.
Oh, wow, really?
This and that. And I did it. I just did it anyway. I went in March 2020 as an essential employee, and
we were all essential, weren't we?
Yeah. Yeah. But what was very cool about that is the courts were closed.
Oh, so what can you really do?
Well, we could do all the claims work in the ground. You could still, bring in a claim, but you couldn't go to trial. You couldn't go to court.
You're a trial attorney.
Yeah. But Morgan had all these other really great trial attorneys. They have the best trial attorneys on the planet. Yeah. They have the ones that write the books on what to do and how to do it. So these lawyers had nothing to do, and all they were doing was training all the other lawyers in the firm. So they started this thing, what was it, Young Guns? And it was for all these new incoming trial lawyers. And I got to go there and basically spent my entire first 2 years as an attorney being trained by the best lawyers on the planet.
Yeah, you're just learning all day.
And I could talk to Keith Mitnick and Rick Block and just call them on the phone and ask them questions. And these are people that are literally writing books that people are studying on how to do their trials.
It's priceless. That education is priceless.
It is. Yeah. And so I'm very fortunate. I feel like my whole life I've just been privileged. I've had privilege, and I'm very aware of my privilege. Okay. And I want to make something of that.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. So you had the doors open for you, but you got to walk through them. So you walked through them and worked really hard to get where you are. When you left, first of all, I got to know something. Who's the second Morgan?
His wife.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Okay. All right.
And then there's 3 sons too.
Yeah, one of them just
But the Morgan & Morgan is his wife.
His wife. Okay, I always wondered because like Catania and Catania, or all the other names. I'm like, okay, that's one, and that's.
Yeah.
But he's the one always on the commercials, or at least he used to be.
Yeah.
So okay.
He's the face.
Yeah, we'll probably cut that out. Anyway, okay, so fast forward. Now you're at, what's the name of your firm now?
Now I'm at Suli Law.
Suli Law.
Yes.
Suli Law. Okay.
That's my baby. Now.
How did this happen? Because you're a partner, which, I know, I won't say tons and tons of attorneys, but I know a great deal of attorneys. People work their entire careers to become partner. Mm-hmm. So how does this happen?
So I guess I have a different experience as most attorneys because I was a paralegal first.
Okay.
Most people go to undergrad and then either they do a master's or not, and then they go to their grad school program in law and then graduate and become an attorney.
You're an attorney, yeah.
I didn't do that. I graduated, wasn't sure what I wanted to do for a while, and I spent 5 years as a paralegal. So I can actually, file my own complaints in the e-filing portal, where most attorneys can't even do that. There's a lot of things that attorneys can't do. Request their own crash reports. Very simple, little tedious, minute things.
Like they don't know how to do it.
Send a certified letter. There are people out there that are working active attorneys with doctorate degrees that don't know how to mail a letter.
Right.
So that was cool that I was able to learn how to do everything from the ground up. And so throughout my career, I've always been able to, I think, coach people and staff to do it from the ground up.
Okay.
So that being said, I think when I take in a claim, a lot of times, if you're calling Morgan & Morgan, for instance, your claim is going to go to a case manager. That's not a licensed attorney. That's not someone that really is well versed in the law. They're trained, they're good, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The attorney isn't going to see the claim until maybe 6 months later, once it's already been worked up.
Right.
I'm in a position where I can work it from entry level and all the way up. So I know the client from the beginning. I know the case from the beginning. I know all the details. I know the ins and outs. I know the intricacies. And when you develop those personal relationships with people, you can represent them better.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you know them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. We were talking with the Observer yesterday, and they asked, how about my own future goals. How big do you want the company to be? And I was like, large enough to serve somebody, but small enough to know them.
That's
you know what I mean? So I get that. I respect it.
Yeah. So that's how I landed here. Is I was with Morgan, and I was doing really well. I was doing so well. They kept moving me up, and they were giving me more staff. And I had what's called a pod. So essentially I was operating my own law firm within Morgan & Morgan.
Right.
I had case managers and secretaries and litigation assistants and paralegals all working under me. I was passing other cases to litigation attorneys. If the case wasn't valued at something certain, I was like, here, another attorney takes this.
Right.
But from there, I had 400 and something clients, and I didn't know these people, and I couldn't build a relationship. So how am I supposed to take a case and stand in front of a jury panel of 6 people and talk about how this person's life has been, changed and how they're impacted, for the past 3 years or so, when I've only known them for 3 weeks before trial.
Right. Yeah,
you can't do that. You're not properly representing people. You're not making proper connections. And I really craved that. And so there was an opportunity at another firm. It was Legler Murphy Battaglia at the time.
Yeah.
And I went over there because I wanted to do personalized service, and they had been around for 35 years. Great firm, great people. And I learned a lot from them, and I really was able to connect. And from there, I was able to get a better reputation, I think, in the local community.
Yeah.
And people
because you're working
me.
with people, right?
Yes.
Directly.
Yeah. And that was it. I've lived here for my entire life. I was born and raised here.
Really?
Right here.
That's rare.
Yeah. Born in Manistee Memorial Hospital.
Wow.
Went to Lakewood Ranch High School. So I'm well connected. I know people. That wasn't the issue. It was just getting the reputation as a good attorney. You can be a good person, but doesn't mean you want me to handle your legal claim,
Yeah, for sure.
So getting that traction was very helpful. And then I knew that I always wanted to be a partner, wanted to do my own thing. I thought it was going to be there with them. But this opportunity just presented itself for me to have my own office by myself that I could run in Lakewood Ranch. And I took it and ran for it.
Yeah, it's like an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah, exactly.
And 4 years in, like I said, some people work their whole career to be partner. I don't think anybody could fault you for jumping at the opportunity.
Yeah, but it was great. I had just built this reputation, and they had heard of me, and they reached out to me. They said, hey, we heard really good things about you. We heard that you're settling cases really high and at mediation, not at trial. So you're a good negotiator. Can we meet with you? Can we have lunch? And I went and had lunch with Laura Suli Law, which is my partner, and her husband. And we talked business and all that and personal and everything. And by the end of the meeting, she's like, look, I don't know what I can say, but she's like, I'm no bullshit. I'm just going to put it out here. I like you. Tell me what you need for us to work together.
Wow.
And she's like, I can tell, you're not at the caliber to be an employee. And I agreed. Yes, we're on the same page there. Yeah. And I was like, I need an office. I need a paralegal, this, and then done. So yeah, this happened within a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
When the opportunity presents itself.
Well, so it's funny. Her offer letter to me, the way she ended it was, when you really want something bad enough, the entire universe conspires to make it happen. And that's what this feels like.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's what that feels like for me too. So we're in, like, we're shaking hands, deal done. And I went in and it has been amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, good. Good.
I wish I had the numbers for you. I wish I added them up before, but I'm pretty sure I've settled over $1 million already in my, we just opened on March 28th.
Yeah,
so.
I knew it was pretty fresh. Yeah. Lakewood Range, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, because that was the fear too, going on my own. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have the name of Morgan & Morgan behind me.
Right.
I don't have the name of a firm that's been around for 35 years like Legler. You know, I'm going out with Suli and people don't know me. And now it's like, oh, here's Kelli, this partner. And like you said, they can look me up. They can see that I've been an attorney for 4 years and they see 4 years. They don't see the 5 years of paralegal behind that.
Right.
And they don't know where I worked before that. That doesn't show on the Florida Bar website. So I have run into being underestimated a lot. That's my advantage.
Kind of, a bet at a table.
Yes.
That's good for you.
Yeah. Because the entire claim, you know, when I'm negotiating with adjusters, they're kind of just, you know, giving me the runaround and that.
A rookie, yeah.
Yeah. And then we get into litigation and then, you know, sometimes they're like, oh, she does kind of know what they're doing. And then we get to mediation. And that's when we have the third party mediator is like, oh, this girl knows what she's doing. Nice. You need to settle this case.
Yeah. I get the fear of, you know, not having the name. You know, when I started, the agency, there was a company here in the area. Now it's escaping me. Reach Local, that was their name. Reach Local, and they were like nationwide. They were the big dogs on the block, and like I would walk into a place and offer my services, and they're like, "Oh no, we're with Reach Local." Damn. Yeah. You know, and I have to go to the next place. Like, "Oh no, Reach Local does that for me." Damn. You know, and it was hard. It was really hard because you didn't have like the name or reputation when you walked in. Like support, you kind of have to build it on your own, one at a time. Pros and cons, right? When I look back on it, I'm thankful. You know, I turned 1 into 2 and 2 into 4 and so on and so forth. But like in the middle of it, you're like, oh, man, if I hear one more person tell me
and that's it. And I get it a lot still too. You know, even when they call me, well, what can you do? It's like they have that doubt. But you just have to keep persevering and proving yourself. And that's, the more you do it, the more confidence you gain.
Oh, 100%.
So yeah, I think I'm finally at the point where I'm confident enough to obviously open my own place and just say, hey, look, if you don't trust in me, give me a chance. Let's try, let's go and
roll the dice.
Yeah. And so far it's worked out
good.
on all the things.
I find entrepreneurs that are successful, you know, whether it's in 4 years or in 20 years, are regimented in at least some aspects. So morning routines, evening routines, day-to-day, like stuff like that. So like, you have like a morning routine that you follow? Are you strict or things like that? Or?
Very strict.
Okay, tell me about the morning
It's almost
routine.
a religious routine.
Okay.
So I wake up. Now, there's not a special time for it.
Oh, okay.
So that is something that I've really, I guess I'll call it a recalibration. When I went out as partner, that was my thing, is I don't want to wake up in the morning and feel like I have to be here at a certain time. You know, I want to wake up and fill my cup first so that when I go to my office, I'm giving 100% to all my clients, my staff, and everyone. So sometimes I wake up at 6, sometimes I wake up at 7. I'm always in the office at a decent time. Yeah. But it's always after I wake up and have my supplements and I do my workout routine, stretch and do my yoga. I have my 5-minute meditation. Okay. And then we're good to start the day.
Then you're good to start the day.
Yeah.
But it's always that, and it's always in that order. Yeah.
Actually, it's usually the yoga first. It depends on how hard the workout's going to be.
Gotcha.
So if it's going to be like a strenuous leg day, we got to do the yoga before.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then usually end with the meditation so I can set my intention for the day.
Yeah. Yeah. What about like evenings, weekends? Like, do you check out or are you still working? Like, what's the protocol there?
It's always different. Right now, especially with having the new firm, it's a lot of marketing. A lot of happy hours and dinners and just getting out and doing that. I have 2 kids too. So it's trying to balance those things. Yeah. So when I have them, we're 1 week on, 1 week off. Mm-hmm. So those evenings with them, I try and make with them. But sometimes, you know, I'm going to a happy hour and then I'm rushing home at 7 o'clock and making a dinner and, you know, it's boom, 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 busy, hectic.
Yeah, I get it. Like week on, week off, like I'm familiar with this lifestyle. Mm-hmm. it can be tough because, but you know, the pro side of it, or pros and cons. The pro side of it is the off week. Well, it's tough to be away from. It was always tough to be away from my daughter for the week, right? But I could work until 8 or 9 o'clock or whatever. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can work till your eyeballs bleed because
Yes.
that's the situation that you're dealt, the cards that you're dealt. So
Yeah.
pros and cons, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I get that. What about like time off? Anything like that?
I usually have to plan and force my time off.
Okay.
I did just have a nice little trip to Texas. That was more of a personal development retreat, is what
Okay.
I'll call it. I got to see Brendan Burchard speak.
Okay.
Are you familiar?
No.
He is the #1 personal development coach in the world right now.
Say it again.
Brendan Burchard.
Look him up.
Look him up.
All right.
You're gonna. So he has this app called Growth Day that I listen to every morning. It's like the Daily Fire. It's 15 minutes of just personal development kind of type stuff. So I got to do that. I call it a vacation. Wasn't really a vacation, but yeah, like in my free time I do ballroom dancing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I go to Fred Astaire here in
Yeah.
Lakewood Ranch.
I know it. Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Is
That's
it?
something that I took up recently in November. I danced in high school and then I coached a little bit, like hip hop and some cheerleading kind of type stuff. And then I hadn't done it since I was like 20 years old. Had kids, lived life, got busy.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of wanted to find something to have fun and build confidence and talk to people, and
Yeah.
got into the ballroom dancing. So
We just had earlier today. We interviewed Irv Hellman.
Helmet? Yeah, I think it's
Helmet. Yeah, Irv
Yeah.
is like 70. How do you think? It's gotta be. Gotta be in his
72 maybe.
Gotta be in the
71,
70s, and
somewhere in there.
he ballroom dances.
yeah.
He's like, yeah, I learned. You know, I did salsa first, and then I did ballroom dance. I'm like, go ahead, Irv.
Yeah.
You know, white hair and everything. I'm like,
Well, it's funny. Like a lot of the people in the studio are older.
that's what he said. It's
Uh-huh.
mostly
I feel
older
like I
folks.
bring the youth. I'm trying to get more people my age to come. But
That's funny.
yeah.
Yeah. No. In this area, I know it's very popular. You know, I also play basketball with a guy who taught at Fred Astaire, and then about 3 years ago, he started his own, thing. So he's an entrepreneur, and we're like cheering him on.
That's awesome.
But he takes people to like competitions and all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. Like,
I've been traveling. I've been to New Orleans
Yeah.
and where else? We just did one in St. Pete. I was supposed to go to Peru, but
oh,
yeah, that's a little much right now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What you got on your plate?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so talk to me about the day-to-day. So being a litigation litigation attorney. Am I saying that right?
Yes. Well, so I handle claims from accident scene to trial.
You're handling
So-
all that stuff. You got a paralegal, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So we got
But
paralegals, case managers, reception. We got a team.
what's your day look like? Are you meeting with clients? Are you in court? Like, what's the day like?
Depends on the day.
Okay.
So Thursdays are usually my marketing days.
Yeah.
So we're here on a Thursday.
Yeah. For sure.
That's my BNI day. I try and get most of like my meetings and stuff like that on Thursdays. I can be in court. I can be in pretrial conference. Now, all of court is done on Zoom except for trial.
Really?
So yeah,
Come out of COVID?
since COVID,
Oh,
when they just found that we can be more productive
Yeah, you can.
that way.
Yeah,
Because I'm licensed in
100%.
the entire state of Florida. So in the morning, I can be in Zoom court in Orlando, and then I can be in Tampa in the afternoon. So
nice.
it's cool. But yeah, it's sometimes I'm in mediations. Those can take, whole days. I do depositions. Clients will come in, new clients intake. Yeah, it's
Wow.
just
Could be
diverse.
Yeah, very diverse. One day to the next. When you have days where you're in court in Orlando and in court in Tampa or whatever, like you in front of a screen all day long.
I have had where, I have to log into Manatee County pretrial at 9 a.m. and then I'll have a client come in and we're doing a deposition with an attorney in Orlando.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like
So
I'll,
all day long.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
What's that like? Like, are you good with it, or like, is it a pain, or what?
I love it.
I love that Zoom is so accepted since COVID.
hmm
Goodness, I do miss like I'm a handshake guy. You know what I mean? Like I like to, like a couple weeks ago, or months ago, I guess, not flew to Phoenix just to like see a client face to face, shake his hand, close the deal, and flew. I was on the ground like 12 hours. It was nuts. Maybe 18 hours, whatever. But like so many people are less about the handshake now and the face to face because it's
Yes.
so accepted. And so I'll have days like you're talking about where, Zoom all day long. And I'm like,
Hmm.
and then I'll pick up my phone and look at my screen. So
Yeah.
it's a
But see, you
problem.
got both. And that's why I talk about being privileged. I feel like I am born in the perfect era. Like I'm
Yeah.
35 years old, so I know how to socialize. I know how to go play. I played outside as a kid.
Yeah.
I know how to do the handshake thing. But also, I feel like that's what set me apart from a lot of other older attorneys, and that's why I've been able to go out on my own so soon. Is because I understand the technology and I
Yeah.
have that edge.
Yeah.
I can use the Zoom better than they can. I
Yeah.
can,
More comfortable with
share
those
my
things.
screen and,
Yeah. Oh,
put
yeah.
up exhibits and all these
Yeah.
other things that these other attorneys can't do. The AI,
Yeah.
I can use AI and templates, and some of these other attorneys can't figure it out.
All right. So tell me, like, are you using AI?
Yeah, actually, LexisNexis is a big attorney
Yeah. I know.
software program, and they're coming out with AI that's going to write motions for us and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of attorneys that are scared of it. Like if you're doing contract law or something that's very black and white,
Yeah.
I do think maybe the job could be jeopardized.
Actually, I tell you what, like just with my experience with AI, the contract law side of it, I feel like would be safer because it's very black and white.
Mm-hmm.
I think where you get into trouble is like creating some type of precedent or researching a precedent, and it can hallucinate, right? Like it can just come up with like whatever.
Yeah.
And like we use an AI that will, a lot of AI. We use one that will, when somebody submits a request for like a consultation with us, it'll research their website and research them and their position. Oftentimes it's right. In fact, nowadays it's pretty, I'd say 99% of the time it's right. But a year ago, man, I would get all kinds of stuff and it would just make stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
And I would ask people like, hey, did you ever do this? They'd say, no. Say, all right, thanks. I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
But the AI had told me that it was real, so from a legal standpoint, that would be scary. But contracts, I bet would be like, we're black and white.
Yeah. That's, I would never become fully dependent on it for sure,
Yeah.
especially not for motion practice or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I know that my job is safe because like I said, I'm doing the job where I'm representing people. I have to know them. I got to know their life.
Right.
AI can't make that up.
No.
But yeah, I mean, if you're doing just general pulling statutes and things like that, and these things are drafting really great motions and
yeah. 100%.
templates for you.
I mean, it's just going to it has all the data and you just tell it what you want and it understands it. It's going to pull that data. So, all right. 4 years in, what's the next 10 years look like?
Next 10 years. More offices.
More offices.
I think so. Okay. I would like to staff this one with more attorneys under me, associate attorneys. But I mean, first we got to grow it, right? We got to get the claims. So the real thing is just serve more people. Find more people to serve. Get overwhelmed so that I have to hire more staff and then more offices.
Get overwhelmed. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have this idea or an idea for when you're bringing in new attorneys, right? You're growing, you're bringing in new attorneys, this culture, like, is there a culture that you have envisioned for the company?
Very much so. I want to create something where we are teaching people.
Kind of like what you had.
Yeah, because what I've learned in a lot of big corporate environments, there's a lot of competition. And it's more about competition over collaboration. And I'm one of those people that believes we're all interconnected. We're all dependent on each other. We need to rise together to grow. So I would like to build something where I am, supporting the people that are coming in to grow.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true, but they always talk about how a wolf follows its pack from behind. You heard that?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually a true thing.
I don't know either, but I've heard this. Yeah.
But that's kind of my mentality is I would like to be able to lead people by pushing them forward and ahead. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I tell people all the time when you're building culture, it's 100% about like pouring into them. So when you talk about training them and they're learning, I feel like that'll get it done because like if they can feel that you have the same, if they feel that your goal is to make them better, make them stronger, and you're actually making the effort, like not only are they going to get better and stronger, but they're appreciative and they're going to give you everything as well.
Exactly.
And they're going to be a better team member and more collaborative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. like it. Cool. Thank you so much for joining us today. Like, this